Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here, and y'all, I am glad that the sun is shining today. If you've been watching my videos, you know the weather has been a challenge, but today is a beautiful day. I have like an hour is all I have today, and I'm trying to get done what I can get done in the tunnel. So thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new here, please say hello down in the comments below and let me know what state or country you're coming in from so I can say hello back and give you a warm welcome. And for those that come all the time, I appreciate you and thank you for being part of the community. Today I'm in my tunnel, and y'all, today, look. Y'all, we starting seeds today. Yes, we are in June. So on this video, I'm going to walk you through the seeds that I'm starting and why, and we're going to talk about succession planting. This is an area where many gardeners, especially if you're new, you don't take full advantage of, and I'm telling you, you should. You absolutely should. So today we're going to be starting, let me see, three things. Yes, I'm going to be starting more corn, more squash, and more zucchini. But first, let me fill up my trays, and then let's talk about why I'm doing that, and let's give you a quick drive-through lesson on succession planting, as well as I will talk about the things that you can still be planting in June. Okay, so let's talk about what you can still be starting seeds or planting in June, and how can you tell. So the first thing that you have to know is your first and last frost date. And so if you're new to gardening, you can Google this. You can go to farmersalmanac.com. You just put in your zip code and say, what is my last frost date? Ask Google, ask Siri, ask Cortana, whoever you ask. They will tell you when is your estimated last and first frost. So, but for this purposes, we need to know the estimated first frost date. That essentially is saying, when can I expect frost in my area? Because that's going to be the end of your summer growing season. Now, I live in zone 7B. I live in the state of Tennessee. And so I have a really long growing season. I know that everybody is not that fortunate. So for me, I have like 180 days in my growing season. So for me, when I asked Google how much until my estimated first frost date, it is it's either October the 15th through the 19th, somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact date, but I use October the 15th as a baseline and use the earlier date. I have 115 days until my estimated first frost date. Now, the estimated first frost date is an estimate. It doesn't mean it's going to pour down, snowing, and all that on the first day. It might, and it might not. So it's an estimate based on trends and patterns over the last, 20, 30 years or so about when the frost normally happens in your area. So that is the first thing that you need to know, is how many days until your first frost day. So if you don't know that, I want you to pause this video, go find that out, because everything else is going to make sense real simply and real easy. So once you know your estimated first frost date, then that lets you know what you can plant in June, right? So the next thing you need to know is, okay, what do I want to plant? And then whatever you decide you want to plant, you need to look at that and see how many days to maturity. DTM. You can also Google that. It'll be on the back of your seed packet and all of those things. So for me, I have 115 days until the first frost date. And so I can do a lot of stuff. But for me, today I'm going to do corn, squash, and zucchini. Now, squash and zucchini have about 50 to 60 days to maturity. On average, it's about 50. So for me, I got plenty of time to do another set of squash and another set of zucchini. For corn, it takes about 75 to 80 days, the variety that I'm going to do. So I still have time, but for me, I'm cutting it just a little close, just a little bit. Again, because as the days, as you go further into the summer, so like in my area in September and all that, even though it's still the summer growing season, the temperatures have cooled off. It's not as hot, and it's not as hot as long, meaning like in June, it's hot all day for 12 hours. The sun is out and all that stuff. But in the end of September, it's not going to be that way. So you have to account for that And for me, I take about 2 to 3 weeks at the end to account for that. So that's, if I take 3 weeks, that's about 21 days. So that puts me like right around 101 days. And so I have 115, so I should still be to the good, right? But again, it's all an estimate. And so I'm right on the, in my mind, not on the edge, but I'm close to the edge when it comes to corn. But we're going to do it anyway, because technically I do still have time. Now, if you're not in my zone and your estimated first frost date is before October 15th or 19th, then you have to figure out what you can grow. But let's say that yours is September the 15th. So let's say 30 days earlier than mine. So that means you would have, 85 days left until the end of your growing season. Right at the time of this video, from that day until September the 15th is about 85 days. I just subtracted 30 from my 115. That's how I got that. So if you have 85 days, you can start planting, you can start seeds, you can direct sow anything, in my opinion, that's going to be 60 days or less. So what things are those? Bush beans, you can get those in 50 days. Squash, zucchini, basil is in 50 days. If you're in a climate that can tolerate lettuce, then you can do lettuce, because lettuce is a quick growing crop. Radishes, but radishes again don't like the heat, so you want to stick to the summer vegetables. Basil, squash, zucchini, cucumbers would also be another one that you can do and plant in this time, because cucumbers are like 50 days. So again, what can you plant in June? Know your estimated first frost date, and then know whatever it is you want to grow, know the days to maturity. So for instance, if you want to do tomatoes from the very beginning right now, tomatoes take anywhere from 80 to 95 days depending on the variety. And so if you are in a place where you only have 85 days left until your estimated first frost date, I would not be putting tomatoes in the ground right now today, because the likelihood that you're going to have red tomatoes that are ripe is probably very nil. Now, can you take a chance? Absolutely. It's your garden. But I want to teach you the science of how do you know, so that way you're not surprised. You will have tomatoes, but they may not have time to ripen up and turn red. They may just be green, and then you can have you some good old fried green tomatoes, okay? So that's basically how you do it. Also, if you want to think about, I haven't done my sunflowers yet. I want to do sunflowers. Sunflowers have a short days to maturity. I think sunflowers are like 50 days. So think about all those things. I gave you quite a few. Beans, bush beans, squash, zucchini, cucumbers, basil, sunflowers. That's 6 right there that you can do today in June if you have an estimated last frost date that is at least, let's just say, 75 to 80 days away. Those are all the things that you can do right now. Tomatoes, you're going to get a really early variety that's around 50 to 60 days. When it comes to peppers, you would need something that's, again, very fast growing, like an early bred jalapeno you might could get in less than, 70, 80 days. I'm trying to think what else. I'm looking also around my garden. See what else I have. Let's see. Eggplant. Eggplant, I think, is around 75, 80 days. So you might be on the cusp of eggplant. But again, if you're in 7B in my area, or in like 8A, and I think even 8B, you have a very long growing season. So you could probably start, kind of the same things that I can be starting now. So I hope that that makes sense about what you can start. So when we think about succession planting is basically, I've planted it once and now I'm going to succeed or follow and plant it again. So the reason why you would want to do succession planting is to keep your crops going all summer long, and to make sure that you have harvest all summer long. And then also you can use it to stagger your harvest all summer long. So instead of all of your harvest coming on at one time because you planted everything on May 1st, then you can do May 1st, and maybe you did your squash then, and maybe you do your cucumbers on June 1st. Like, you can do it however you need to do it according to your lifestyle and your capability to be able to pick, harvest, preserve, and all that stuff. Or like for me, I'm doing squash and zucchini today because the squash bugs have arrived, and I know they're going to arrive, and there's nothing I can pretty much do about it except try to treat as much as possible. But at some point real soon, I will get the last of the squash, and then they will die out and just will be no good. By the time that happens, it may be in a couple of weeks, around the first part of July. Now, if I don't want any more squash for the rest of the summer, I can stop right there, pull those plants up, leave that row empty, or put something else in there. But for me, I know that I want to have more squash and zucchini. So that's why I'm going to start more today, because I can pull those plants out when they are done, and then I will already have some ready to go in its place in the ground. So that is one reason. The other thing that I'm doing today is corn, and I've never done a succession of corn, but we're going to try it because my corn is almost ready. Now, I started my corn in the house back in April. And so by the time I put it in the ground, it was already established for a good 6 weeks. The plants were beautiful. If you saw that when I planted them, they were beautiful. And so it is almost ready. I took one yesterday and tested it. It was so good. And so this corn will be ready to pick. I would imagine over the next week or two. They may not all be ready at the same time. But if I can get another flush of corn, that is going to make me so happy. That means more for the freezer, more to last throughout the year. And what do I have to lose? A whole lot of nothing, because that space has already been occupied. I'm not going to put anything else in that space where the corn is, in terms of how the spacing is set up on 6 inches apart. And so I might as well, if I don't, I'm just going to cover it up so that no weeds grow in it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get our corn, squash, and zucchini planted up for succession planting. Now, if you have questions about anything that I just shared, or if you have questions about succession planting, drop them down below and let me know. So the variety of corn that I'm doing, again, I'm doing peaches and corn, which is what I did at the beginning of the season, right? And so we're going to do, I think, this whole tray. Now, can I direct sow this corn? Yes, I can direct sow it. But I found that I have better success when I start it versus direct sowing, because one, you run the risk of birds or rabbits eating your corn before it gets a chance to germinate. Also, my corn is not all ready today. So while some of it may be ready, all of it isn't. So if I wait for it all to be ready, that may be another, I got a worm in here. Just get on in there, buddy. Just get on in there with the corn. Make friends. There you go. Okay, so if I wait for all of it to be ready, meaning to harvest the corn, then that may be 2 weeks. That means I'm already 2 weeks behind. And remember, I'm already kind of cutting it just a little bit close. So this is going to be an experiment to see if we can get more corn. So I'm going to get this whole tray, which this is a tray of 72. I think right now I have 40 to 50 corn out there. So this will account for if we don't have all germination. And if I can get the exact same amount that I have out there, that is even great. If I have more than that, then I have more holes. I think, well, I got okra behind it, so I don't know. But anyway, we're going to do this whole tray and see what we get. I had very good germination, and this is 97% germination. This is from Haas Tools. The corn that I did earlier germinated extremely well. I want to say almost 100% germination. So I'm not too concerned about germination, but I always err on the side of too much than not enough. So I pretty much almost have all of this whole tray done. It's going to come together really quickly. And y'all, this is like old familiar territory. Just what, 2 months ago, y'all, we were starting seeds every single week. It's been a while since we started seeds, but you know what? It's like riding a bike. Once you do it, you always got it. And it doesn't take long. And especially because the corn seed is just a kernel of corn. They're big. It doesn't take much. So we're going to press these down, water it up, whole tray done, and then we're going to get back and do our summer squash and our zucchini. Okay, guys, so we got the corn done, and so now we're going to do our squash and zucchini. And so I'm only going to do half of this tray, which is about 36. So I'm going to do 18 squash and 18 zucchini because I don't want to fill up the whole row like I did before, because I don't need that much, and I want to do whatever is left. I want to do more green beans, and so I'm saving space for that. And so we're going to do, let's see, we're going to do the Donja variety of zucchini. My zucchini has not done well this season so far. It's been very, very slow, and I can't remember which variety I did, but I know I did a new variety, and it just has not done as well. So I'm going to go back to one that I know has produced for me, and see if we can get more zucchini. I'm getting like 1 or 2 zucchini at a time. Last year, I got, I don't know, 5 or 6 at a time, and I had tons of it. Now I have way more squash than I do have zucchini, but I have some customers asking for zucchini, so I want to make sure that I have some to supply them. So we're going to go ahead and I'll just go ahead. This has a 97% germination rate. This is from Johnny's, and this is the Donja variety, D-U-N-J-A. It is a hybrid. It has done well for me before, and so we're going to get that planted in and see if we can get more zucchini for sure. Now, you guys tell me, do you like squash better or zucchini? It's basically the same plant, except it's a different color. To me, they don't taste the exact same. I like squash better than I like zucchini in terms of taste. But also with the zucchini, I want to shred some and freeze dry it. Let me know if you guys have ever done that before. So that way I can have it throughout the year to like put in recipes to bulk them up, or make, you know, like zucchini bread and things like that. So that's why I want more zucchini. And if I have 18 plants and they do well, if I have 10 plants and they do well, then that'll be way more zucchini than what I need. And then in terms of squash, I realized, and I just realized this difference, like I've been gardening for 5 years and I just realized this, is that crookneck squash has the yellow, dark yellow, bumpy skin versus the straight neck squash is just a smooth yellow. I think they both taste the same, but for me, the straight neck just looks better. And when I'm doing both, I think it's hard for when I'm selling to people, they're like, okay, what's the difference? Because one looks, I mean, nothing's fine with nothing is wrong with the way it looks, but it just has that bumpy dark yellow skin. And so next to the smooth yellow skin, people seem to think, oh, that's better. When in actuality, it isn't. It's the same. It's just a different variety. But I think for me, I like the smooth, and I like to just have a consistent product. So I'm not going to say I'm never going to do crookneck again, but I never even realized that or knew that until I just looked it up this summer. I know, always learning. So I'm going to do a straight neck squash, but I have another one here. Let me look this up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm glad I looked that up. I had a variety out here called Maverick, but it's actually zucchini, and so I'm glad that I didn't plant that. I'm going to do this early prolific straight neck. These seeds are 4 years old, so I'm going to double time it, and let's just see if these seeds germinate. I'm going to do half of these seeds, and then I have another one called Cube of Butter, which I did. It's been okay. It hadn't been outstanding, so I need to buy me some more squash because this is all I actually have. So I'm gonna actually put 3 just because they're so old and because I'm not trying to play around with germination. I'm gonna put 3 in there in each one for those. And so that's gonna be the early prolific straight neck, which that's all good. We'll see if they germinate, and they should. And then I'm going to do the Cube of Butter for the other 9. So let me just label this so I know the difference. And it's a 50-day variety. So again, plenty of time. And let's see how many I have left in this packet. Well, I don't have that many left, so we won't be doing 9. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we'll just do the last 6, which is what I originally had for this kind, and that'll just be 1 each. That's all I have. Uh-oh, I got 1 more in here, I think. Yep, 1 more, so we'll just double time 1 of those. Okay, and then we will just do more of the straight neck because these seeds are old. And do seeds expire? No, they don't. It will lessen the germination rate the older they are, and so you just may have to use more than one seed. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm so glad I got that checked off of my to-do list. So we have a whole tray of corn and we have squash and zucchini. I don't need more basil. I got basil all throughout the garden that I can't even keep up with now. In terms of bush beans, I direct sow those. So I will be doing succession plantings of those. So I don't need to start those. And then there's really nothing else that I want to succession plant. I have plenty of tomatoes, plenty of peppers, and those things I would just buy as starts. I would not do those like from seed at this point. So for me, and I got plenty of sunflowers, although I could probably do more sunflowers because sunflowers towards the end of the season, they can start to like die off, but I'm okay with that. So for me, this is all that I need right now to start seeds of. And then, like I said, I will be succession planting my bush beans all throughout the season. So let me know in the comments if you've ever done succession planting before, if you plan to try it now that we've talked about it, if you started some new seeds. Tell me all the things that's going on in your garden. I hope that this video was helpful, and thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you like this content and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of this community. Y'all, around here, gardening is a journey. Let's do it together. I'll see you next time, friend.